Are you thinking of investing in an Airbnb? Well, after Airbnb's latest rollout of all of its new policies, its new procedures, its new cancellation policy, you should definitely think again, because everything that Airbnb just did screws you over as the host and as the investor. I'm going to break it down for you in this video. And at the end, I'll just share with you all the different things that Airbnb has done leading up to this point to make it less and less appealing to become a host. And honestly, guys, this video kind of pissed me off when I was starting to research this latest Airbnb rollout, because it's just an example of a corporation that gets big. And at first, they're this great platform that's trying to help the little guy, right? And it's like, you've got all these big hotel owners that make millions and millions and billions of dollars off of tourism. And so Airbnb comes in, and you know what's cool about Airbnb is little investors like you and me, right? Can go in, we can buy an Airbnb, we can get some cash flow. But then what happens? These corporations get big, they get a little fat, they start reporting to shareholders, they go public, and now they're forced to drive profits. And in order to do that, who do they stop caring about? They stop caring about you. And I think it's what so many people are fed up with America is like, there's capitalism, great, but then there's this version of capitalism that just screws a bunch of people in the process. And so it's like this dirty version of capitalism, right? Where growth at all costs, growth no matter who we freaking throw into the table. So anyway, thank you for listening to my rant. It's terrible, but I experienced this firsthand when COVID first broke out. When COVID first broke out, Airbnb didn't give hosts a chance at all. From the very beginning, they just auto-canceled millions of bookings. They forced hosts to do certain things, whereas VRBO, which is vacation rental by owner, or VRBO they call it now, was much more host friendly. And I'm not here to promote VRBO because I think short-term rentals are not the thing that you want to be invested in the next 5 to 10 years. My wife and I had a bunch of Airbnbs when COVID broke out. And look, I get it was a big thing and everybody was scared. But Airbnb, just the way that they handled it was so anti-host, was so lack of communication, was so just negative, like they didn't care. And I think it just left a bad taste in people's mouth. Airbnb started by charging a 3% flat rate fee. And just slowly but surely their fees have creeped up and creeped up and creeped up. And now they're big, but they charge so much more for this. But what's the deal with this latest rollout and how is it going to impact you? Here are 7 things that the latest Airbnb pivot and how it's going to affect you as the host. Airbnb just rolled out this feature where they actually allow anybody who's booking an Airbnb to also book services that then come into the Airbnb to serve the people who are staying there. So it could be like, hey, I'm booking this Airbnb and I also want a fitness trainer to come and train me for that week. So I can just book that right through the Airbnb app. Or I need a private chef. So I don't have to go try to find a private chef on Google somewhere. I can actually just book that right through the Airbnb app. So if you're a guest and you're staying in an Airbnb, it's actually a pretty damn cool feature because I've wanted a massage before, a fitness trainer, a private chef. It's all right there. The problem with it is if you're the host, they auto-enroll you in this feature. So number one, that's first of all, like the first kind of slap in the face to people who spend their life savings, frankly, maybe building a portfolio of Airbnbs. And all of a sudden, Airbnb just makes the unilateral decision, no request, no asking hosts if this is possible, just boom, you have to let these people in your home. Now, you can opt out of it, but it's a complicated process. You're forced into it initially, and they don't make it easy to opt out of it, right? So you're like, hey, all these people are going to come into your place, and you're just going to take it. You're just going to let these people in your home because we want to service our people that are already renting your home. It's like, okay, that doesn't feel really good to me as the person having that home. Now you might think, hey, Airbnb is going to give me a little bit of that money, right? Because man, they're making 15, 20% off of that fitness trainer, off of that private chef, off of that masseuse. No. You get absolutely nothing from this as a host. You don't get 1%, you don't get a bonus. And if they spill oil or they start a kitchen fire or they do all of that, it's totally is increased liability on you as the freaking host who own the property that basically Airbnb is arbitraging and just taking from you, right? And saying, what are other ways that we can just leverage your property, and you don't get a cent for it. So you're auto-enrolled, you don't get a cent for it, and your liability just increased a ton because of course guests are going to use this service. Of course, it's a cool service to use. as a guest. But if you're the host and you own the real estate, do you want some random chef coming in that you've not vetted? Do you want someone spilling stuff on your floor? Do you want massage? Do you want fitness trainers coming in and dropping weights? Like, do you want that in your home? And maybe you do, but it doesn't really benefit you necessarily, especially now everybody's auto-enrolled in that. It used to be where if you as the host would offer massages, that was a way for you to stand out. Now everybody gets that, right? So you're not even standing out at all, right? So it doesn't give you any competitive advantage as a host to have these things because everybody was auto-enrolled in it, right? So again, it's just an example of how a big corporation just sees you as this investor and as just profit and saying, we're going to leverage your property more. Yes, Airbnb is saying, oh, we cover it, but there's big gaps in the insurance. I remember I had a huge party at, one of my Airbnbs. This was, I guess, a year and a half ago now, maybe 2 years ago now, and destroyed the house. Weed, firearm, drugs, just destroyed, broken things. And they said they have this thing called air cover. And to their credit, they did pay out. But it was hell trying to get it from them. It was like going back and forth. And they're like, we'll give you $500. I'm like, $500? This is like $7,000 worth of damage. All right, so it's this whole process like insurance always is. So is it really host friendly? I don't know. Didn't feel that way when we first started asking for some money for what they say they cover if someone destroys your house. So that does not give me a lot of confidence that now that you're going to have all these other people in your home, that's going to be the same way. Number 2, you get jack shit. They get all the money. Number 3, you have zero control over who's walking into your home, who's not. These people can come into your home. You have tons of increased liability because of this new rollout. You have much more potential as a host for more liability. You have much more potential for more mess, and you don't get anything for it. You are basically now Airbnb's free venue for whatever services they want to offer in your home. So great. Thank you for being a member of Airbnb, and thank you for spending your life savings on getting 3 or 4 Airbnbs to create passive income and cash flow. And yes, that means nothing to us. We are just going to force our policies on you. And not only that, Airbnb is doing some other crazy shady shit, right? Like they just changed their cancellation policy. You used to have control. You used to be able to say, okay, here's my cancellation policy on my home. I don't want people to be able to cancel like this or like this or like this because I put a lot of money in the home and now Airbnb is like, yeah, no, we're forcing you guys to have a more flexible cancellation policy. Great for the guest. Sucks for you as an Airbnb host, as an Airbnb owner. That's why so many people are running away from Airbnb. Airbnb also took away and changed their algorithms on how they're allowing people to see your home. So it used to be that if you had a great brand, if you had good reviews, all of that would bump you up in the algorithm. And then they went to this new AI predictive model, which just totally screwed your brand. Didn't mean jack shit after that. You could have had top listings, and now it's all scrambled, right? So you don't have that predictability of, oh, I know if I do these things, my home is going to be at the top of the search engine, and I've worked super hard for that. No. Done. Doesn't matter. It's all AI based right now, and it's very hard to predict what could be shown or not shown. Right? And it's just like, man, again, another punch to the gut that nobody asked the hosts about. And this is what they've built a multi-billion-dollar business on. Our backs, the ones who own the Airbnbs. I'm pissed about this too. I've sold a bunch of my Airbnbs, but I still have some. And I'm excited and can't exactly sell the ones I have, but I want to. Commissions for Airbnb have just increased. They've gotten more and more expensive. The thing that kind of sealed as I was doing research on this new rollout and just some of the things that Airbnb's done in the past, I'll be honest, all of that kind of pissed me off. But the thing that really pushed me over the edge, that just got me freaking going, it was how Airbnb has cut deals with the government to hand over your data to governments. For example, when Barcelona or when New York City decided to ban Airbnbs, Airbnb cut deals with the government to save themselves and said, hey, well, in New York City specifically, handed over thousands and thousands of Airbnbs data to the government that they wanted to save themselves. So did they fight for the host that they've built their business on? Hell no. Were they easy to cut a deal to save themselves and throw their hosts under the table saying, hey, here's where all of our hosts are. Here's the people that are doing Airbnbs. Like, because New York City sued them, and so they got off easy, but they gave all the data away to New York City, so they knew which ones were Airbnbs and they knew who to shut down. Like, yeah. That sucks. So Airbnb hands over all this host data to avoid lawsuits, not standing up for you and I, not standing up for the thousands and millions of other homeowners that have, helped them build this platform. On top of that, declining average daily rates. On top of that, declining vacancy rates. On top of that, just this not being the market that I am betting on for the next 5 to 10 years. I'm not betting that the economy is going to get better and better and better. I don't care what they're lying to you on the news saying this is the best, hottest economy that's ever happened. It is not the hottest economy that's ever happened, right? We see this happening all over. Anybody who's connected to real life and how people are suffering and how much, and the fact that it's $24 for a cheeseburger now with fries, and understanding how that impacts people and how there's less disposable income on the real life, just going around. I'm in Asheville, North Carolina, and just walking around and seeing homelessness is on the rise. Affordable housing is like freaking finding gold these days, right? And that is why I'm all in on CoLiving 100%. Because if there's one thing that's going to be needed, it's going to be clean, quiet, safe, affordable housing. Forget Airbnb. I don't know what's going to happen with Airbnb. Honestly, right now as I'm feeling, I would probably have some choice words for the leadership team and have some choice words for how they're handling all this situation. They're going to do what they got to do. I sort of don't wish them the best, but at the end of the day, I think it's time for you and I as investors to take a look at what are these big platforms doing? They're growing at all costs. And that means at your cost. I want to be in an asset class that A, I have more control over, B, is going to be around and is going to be needed for the next decade, and C, is not subject to the whims of somebody else. And so that's why I'm in on CoLiving. If you guys are interested in learning more about it, you guys know I've got a ton of resources here on this YouTube page or one of our 5-day challenges. I'm really curious to your guys' thoughts. Am I being too harsh on Airbnb? Should I be giving them more grace? I don't think I should. Is there something I'm missing? Give me a comment, drop me a comment, tell me how you think about it, and I'll be reading all those comments. God bless you guys. I'll see you in the next video.